Hey everybody, how are you? It's David Schwartzberg here. We're learning the Sefer Shomer Emunim, Perek Daas. If you haven't heard any of the previous Yorim, don't worry, you can jump in fresh today. In this Perek, the Shomer Emunim is going to explain the Sheish, the root of Bitachon based on the sphere of Chochma. In the following Perek, he's going to explain the Sheish, the root of Bitachon based on the sphere of Tiferes. Let's jump in now. Perek Daas. V'hine, move up b'divri abesin zechem v'rochan mishnayis avis. It says in ein kamach, ein Torah. If you don't have food to eat, you're not going to be able to live, you can't learn Torah. It ain't Torah, ain't kamach, but if you don't have Torah, then you won't get parnasa, you won't get money, flour to make food. What are Chazal teaching us? That if you don't have food, you don't have Torah. Of course, you don't have food, you won't be able to live. Of course, you won't be able to learn Torah. Ella zu tainas knesses Yisrael im kiviyachol. This is the taina of Klal Yisrael with Hashem. Hashem is telling us, if you're not going to learn Torah, you're not going to keep the Torah, I'm not going to send you kemach, which is parnasa. Because all the hashpois that come down from Shemayim, which include parnasa, is going to happen only if you are mekayim the Torah, if you keep the Torah. We say to Hashem, but in kemach ain't Torah. But if we don't have flour, we don't have food, we won't be able to keep the Torah. We won't be able to learn them. Let's ask ourselves, why does Hashem need to test us in this area of parnasa? That through this whole test of parnasa, we come to doing, unfortunately, many averis, and we stumble a lot while we're out there working and trying to support our families. Now, since the level of bitachon, and great strengthening in serving Hashem, Shrine doesn't just give it out for cheap. Not everyone that wants to acquire this or be kind of this can acquire it. Only after many tests. And this little test that Hashem brings on you, that He prevents you from making money, or He takes away some of your health, but still this person strengthens his heart in Hashem, and he doesn't pay attention to the fact that he's not making so much money, or that he's not so healthy. And still he's learning, and still he's davening to Hashem, and still he's giving tzedakah, and he strengthens his heart to trust in Hashem. Then through this faith and trust in Hashem, he'll be worthy to the Daas, the davening, which he's going to be talking about soon. Just very quickly, in the person's mind, there is two bechinas. There's a Daas HaKadosh, which are your holy thoughts, and then there's a Daas HaMokam, and the crooked thoughts. And Bitachon, which, again, in this paragraph we're going to be talking about, that it comes from the root of the sphere of Chochma. Chochma is on top of Daas, and it has the power, has the koyach to make sure that the Daas HaBitachon overpowers the entire mind and kicks out the Daas HaMokam. That this person, through his Emunim Bitachon, he's zeichet to his Daas HaBitachon, which will open up the makar of the Kedusha Le'ela, Hanika HaBitachon, which is called HaBitachon, which is coming from the sphere of Chochma, which is on top of Das. And afterwards, Hashem will automatically make it that his heart is strong, and that no fear will come to him. This is what we wrote earlier in the previous Perek, that someone whose heart is ready. What does that mean? It means betuach b'Hashem, he trusts in Hashem. Mishum zeh, because of this, the continuation of the pasuk is mishmua ra la'ira. He will not fear any bad tidings. He won't be scared that anything bad will happen because his trust is with Hashem. V'hine zeh ha'seichel hanimshach mikoyach hadas. This intellect, this seichel, comes from the koyach of das, of knowledge. Yeshle koyach hadoicha has a koyach hadoicha, which means a repelling power. Ki kol evarim. And he goes into explaining in the body itself, all the organs. Yesh lehem koyach hadoicha, they have a repelling power. V'chol hagidim, all the sinews. V'chol ha'orkim, and all the arteries. V'atzabim, and nerves. Yesh lehem koyach hadoicha, they all have a repelling power. Lidchos kol minei moisaros mehem ha'moisaros shebaguf, to push out all the excess that's extra and doesn't belong in the body. K'moi al yidei haitzas hazevel, like when the body gets rid of food waste, vazeya, sweat, vashesen, urine, the kadayim, and similar. Sherichu bezeh chachma nituach, how the surgical experts have spoken a lot on this. V'kocha yish gam kein beruchnius l'chol evarim koyach hamatzor v'koyach hadoicha. So too when it comes to ruchnius, all the evarim have a koyach hamatzor, a retaining power to keep it in, v'koyach hadoicha, and a repelling power to push it out. Shekol aver ve'aver kolul b'bchinas tevera. And every organ is composed of a b'china of good and bad. Kashim mavur b'sefreinu shulchan hatorach, like it's explained in my Sefer shulchan hatorach, b'maymin neflois haboyrei v'ayin sham Perek Daas. Ubefrat, and especially b'moich in the brain, b'mishkan hadas, which is the dwelling place of das. Shehu hamashpia l'chol haguf, which is mashpia to the entire body. B'bchinas u'b'das chadarim yamalu, as it says in Mishlei, by knowledge, by das, chadarim yamalu are its rooms filled. Hu kolu gamkim b'shnei b'chinas toiv v'ra. In the brain, in the moyach, it has a b'chin of toiv, and it has ra. It has das dakedushah, holy thoughts, and it has das mu'ukam, crooked thoughts, and it has the ability to push out the bad thoughts. V'kocha teidash machshava shel adam nikar reidev. Thoughts of a person are called reidev, pursuer. Shemachshava reidefes machshava. One thought pushes away another thought. Shuhu b'chinas chochma, which is in b'china of chochma. Chochma is a composite of two words. Koyach ma. What does that mean? On the bottom of the Sefer, it explains that Chochma is on top of everything that's in Seichel. In Seichel, there's Chochma bin and Daas. Chochma is on top. And Koyach is being drawn from the Seichel. And the second word, ma, is like when a person gets a thought, an idea, but he still doesn't have a clarity on that idea. It's not broken down in his mind how to go through that idea. So he has the word ma. So it's koyach ma. Because it's impossible for a person to stand without machshava. Every person, based on his own life, his thoughts pursue him. Mishu atzvon, someone that's depressed, Bateva, naturally, then he will have thoughts of sadness, or bitterness, or someone who is boiling and heated with his desires, then his desires run after him. And you have amaratzim who are running after every single time new thoughts, whatever foolishness is out there. Their thoughts chase after them. And every person, according to what he is, are his thoughts. That's why Hashem, in His mercy, created a person with a koyach hadoicha, a repelling power. So that a person can repel all these foreign thoughts through exertion of his power. Most of the time, when a person is standing to daven, as we know, tefillah is called avodah shebelev. And that's why a person finds that when he's davening, his thoughts try to overpower him. Because from a person's heart, his thoughts try to confuse him. So tefillah, which is avodah shebelev, that's why a person always finds that he'll daydream. His thoughts try to overtake him. Furthermore, through a person's tefillah, hema tachlis aliyos habirurin, it's the ultimate elevation of the refinements. When a person davens with kavana, with intent, so then it's mevorim, it's refined harbi nitzotzei kedusha, many sparks of kedusha, of holiness. And they cause to fall min hachitzonim harbe, all the chitzonim, all the klipas, it falls away. Vehemo, and these klipas eina manichem atzmam, do not remain passive. These klipas, they try to fight back. L'chein roitfim es ha'adam achshavos, that's why they chase after him in his thoughts. And we can go at length on this. Rak in common, this is not the place. All thoughts come from above. Whether the good thoughts which come from the holy chambers to the heart, like it's written in Chumash Shemais, that in every wise heart I gave Chochma, and the opposite is true as well. That bad thoughts come from the sitra achar, the other side, which is of tumah. Every person has two angels. One to his right, that tries to persuade the holy soul, to lean towards holy thoughts. And one malach, one angel is to his left, the yetzer from the other side of tumah. That tries to entice the person to go after his bad thoughts. Like it's written in Sefer Keheles, Leiv chacham liyaminoi, a wise heart is to his right, v'leiv kasil l'smailoi, and his foolish heart is to his left. And from the heart rise up thoughts to the brain, to confuse him. But a person has a koyach hadoicha, a repelling power, which is the seichel, which comes from Daas, which push away these thoughts in his heart, that are coming from his heart, that are trying to confuse him. Even if a person reaches to that point where the yetzer is confusing the person, until he has all these thoughts in his head that's confusing his thoughts. Now in Daas, in knowledge, there's also two bechinas. There is the right and there's the left side. Daas HaKadosh, Daas HaMokam. There is the holy knowledge and then there is the crooked knowledge. Chas v'shalom. HaBitachon shu bechinas Chochma. Now Bitachon, trust, which is rooted in the sphere of Chochma, as we explained earlier, that Chochma is the highest in Seichel, it overpowers Daas. So Yesh bekoyche lashpia ala Daas, then tois lahag bechilek hadas shebekdusha. It has the power to be mashpia over the Daas, that it should only have Daas shebekdusha, holy knowledge. But Oz, kishazeh comes, then neifel. We know when that one stands up, the other one falls, which is written in Megillas Esther, when Zeresh, the wife of Haman, was telling him, before whom you have begun to fall, meaning to the Zerah Yehudim, Nafal Tipol Lefanav, you will continue to fall before him, because once you're falling and they're standing up, you will continue to fall. V'havin calls them ma'oid, and understand this a lot. V'tira achi, and see my brother. Ki al yedei midas HaBitachon, to this midah of trusting in Hashem, magber chelik hadash shaloi, it will take control, it would overpower your das. Litchois as kol hamachshavos shel olam hamoich levav, to push away, to repel all the thoughts that are coming to your mind to confuse you. V'zeh gam ken eitzel kol bechinas, and this is true in terms of all the bechinas, in all the aspects. Kamay l'mashal, for example, im adam oise aveira oz cherdas elikim alav. A person does an aveira, so then fear of Hashem comes on him. Yesh lahir tshuva, and he has thoughts of repenting, of doing tshuva. Ki risham maleim charatos. As we know, wicked people are filled with regret. V'zeh mecherdas elikim, and this comes from the fear of Hashem. V'zeh sha'amar, this is what's written in the Gemara Brachas. Afilu b'shah sheim oivrim al divrei Torah. Even at that moment when they're being over on the words of the Torah, you call tzarchem lefanecha, all their needs should be before them. unless he's a person who is so attached to his wickedness, so much, that he's lacking this feeling of personal divine supervision. But otherwise, even when a person is doing an Aveira, his needs will be filled because he has fear of Hashem. He has regret. But if he's such a person who is lacking this feeling, he's so attached to his wickedness, then it's a siman that he's a true Rasha. Aval harasha, but a regular Rasha, ein lo zchus rak, shehei lo hir tshuva. His chus is when he has thoughts of doing tshuva. Achamaisa, after he does that bad deed. Ein lo koyach lehislahiv, and he doesn't have that power to be inflamed, to be inspired. Al yidei ahira tshuva lo shem aveira, of thoughts of repenting from his aveira, ki rishon mesur miyad yishram k'maimer chazal, because a rasha who is so attached to his wickedness they're given over to the Yetzer, as Chazal tell us. Aval abeinini, but a middle person, not someone that's so attached to his wickedness, a regular person, zeh ashecherdes alakim alav, that he does have fear of Hashem, latzila me'avir gamkein, to save him from doing an aveira, shlo yavar al return Hashem, that he should not transgress the will of Hashem. V'hat tzadik yoiser, and of course, that person is more righteous. Ochus bezeh hacharada, he has more of that fear. Kenemar, like it says, Gabi David. By David HaMelech, Kishakoras Kanaf Shaul, and it's written in Sefer Shmuel, when he cut off the corner of Shaul's beged, it says, Vayach leiv David, and David's heart struck him, he had charata, he had regret. Ki atzadik afilu b'gam kadon k'sha'isri. A tzaddik, even when he does a little defect, nislabish b'charadam ve'ema, he dresses himself in trembling fear and dread, ve'oiset tshuva gedoyla kilo of averis chamuris chaf shalom, and he does such a great tshuva as if he did severe averis, because of the fear of Hashem that's on him. What we're taking out from this Perek is that Bitachon, which is rooted in Chochma, has the power to push the Daas of a person's mind towards Kedusha. That means that even though he fell to his thoughts, his lave is pushing certain thoughts into his mind, and it's confusing him. But if a person has that trust in Hashem, he will bring on the Chochma, which will overpower the Daas and allow him to have the right thoughts.